The night started like any other party. Laughter, music, clinking glasses. But I quickly realized it wasn't going to be a typical evening. My wife, Megan, had been distant all week, distracted by work and social events, and I had hoped tonight would be different. Instead, as soon as we arrived, she leaned toward me with that half-smile and whispered, "Honestly, I'd have more fun if I went alone." At first, I thought she was joking, just teasing in her usual playful way. But the tone of her voice, the slight edge in her words told me otherwise. This wasn't playful. This was dismissal. A subtle declaration that she didn't want my company, that my presence was unnecessary at her own social gathering. It was the kind of statement that could sting if ignored, but I chose to observe, to stay calm, and let the situation reveal itself. Megan had always enjoyed parties, the thrill of social interaction, being admired, being the center of attention. I had supported her, never questioning her desire to enjoy herself. But hearing her openly suggest that she would have more fun without me stirred a quiet tension I couldn't ignore. It wasn't about jealousy. It was about respect and presence. Her words implied a separation, a preference that hurt more than any argument ever could. I decided to remain composed, smiling politely to acquaintances, engaging in casual conversation, all while noticing Megan's behavior. She drifted from group to group, laughing easily, showing off her charm, clearly comfortable being the focus without me. Some part of me ached to pull her aside and demand an explanation, but I knew that confrontation now would only escalate the tension. Sometimes the best course is patience, watching, waiting, and understanding before taking action. As the evening progressed, Megan grew bolder. She began making subtle remarks about enjoying the freedom of attending events without me, laughing at jokes she would normally avoid, and even suggesting she might leave early to meet up with friends. The room seemed to orbit around her, the energy shifting with every step she took. She wasn't just distant. She was actively asserting her independence, leaving me to wonder how far she would push before realizing the consequences of her words. Then, near the end of the night, I saw the opportunity to respond, not with anger or confrontation, but with a quiet, calculated move. I approached Megan casually, a soft smile on my face, and said, "If you're going to have more fun alone, maybe I'll give you the space to do exactly that." Her expression flickered, confusion, curiosity, and perhaps a hint of fear. She hadn't expected me to take her words seriously, to act on them without drama. Megan froze for a moment, her playful smirk replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. She hadn't anticipated that I would follow through with her suggestion, that I would actually step back and let her enjoy the party alone. The subtle power dynamic in the room had shifted, and I could see her realizing it immediately. Her confidence, so effortless before, now wavered under the weight of unexpected consequence. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't scold her. I simply moved to the side, chatting with a few neighbors and friends, making it clear that I was present but disengaged. Megan's laughter, once effortless and natural, now carried a slightly forced tone. She looked around, seeking attention, trying to regain the social dominance she had previously taken for granted. But the change was subtle yet undeniable. The evening was no longer entirely in her control. As the night went on, Megan started to reach for my attention, offering casual touches, glances, and comments meant to draw me in. I remained composed, responding politely but without giving her the immediate validation she sought. Her attempts grew more frequent, but I held my ground, letting her understand that actions have consequences and words matter more than she might realize. Later, when she suggested stepping outside to join a small group of friends, I offered, "Go ahead. I'll be right here when you're ready." The moment she realized I wasn't going to follow her every move, her demeanor shifted again. She was forced to navigate the social space without the comfort of my constant approval. In that subtle distancing, the evening transformed from one of carefree amusement for her into a lesson in awareness and respect. By the time the party was winding down, Megan had begun to approach me differently. Her laughter had softened, and her comments were tinged with a new level of consideration. I could see her internalizing the message, the idea that her words about wanting space weren't just jokes, that there are consequences to dismissing those closest to you. For the first time that evening, she seemed reflective, perhaps even remorseful, realizing the impact of her offhand remark. The evening had been a careful balance. I hadn't embarrassed her publicly, I hadn't yelled, and I hadn't shamed her. Instead, I had responded with calm, deliberate action, allowing her own words to guide the outcome. The effect was immediate, profound, and memorable. Megan learned a lesson not through confrontation or anger, but through subtle consequence, the natural unfolding of events that revealed the truth of her behavior without a single harsh word. By the end of the night, Megan's energy had shifted completely. The confident, carefree woman who had announced she'd have more fun alone was now quieter, thoughtful, and aware of how her words had landed. She no longer attempted to dominate the room or seek constant validation. Instead, she seemed to process the subtle lesson the evening had delivered. Actions and words have weight, and even playful dismissals can carry consequences. After the guests had left and the music died down, we were alone. I approached Megan calmly, not to scold, but to reflect on what had happened. Tonight wasn't about control, I said. It was about understanding. Words matter, and how you treat those closest to you can change everything. She nodded, her eyes meeting mine with a mix of acknowledgement and quiet realization. She understood that her remark, meant perhaps to tease or amuse, had revealed a deeper truth about respect and partnership. In the days that followed, I noticed a subtle change in her behavior. She engaged more thoughtfully, considered her words before speaking, and seemed genuinely aware of how her actions affected those around her. The playful teasing that once came effortlessly was now tempered by reflection. Megan's laughter, though still warm and genuine, was no longer a tool to manipulate or dismiss. It was shared, inclusive, and measured. The party had become a turning point in our relationship, not through drama or confrontation, but through quiet awareness and deliberate action. By allowing her to see the consequence of her words firsthand, I had created a moment that she couldn't ignore. The evening had taught her a lesson about consideration, boundaries, and the subtle but undeniable influence of one's presence on others. I learned something too. Patience and observation can be far more powerful than anger or punishment. By responding thoughtfully rather than impulsively, I was able to guide the outcome of the night without creating conflict. Megan's moment of shock and reflection became a shared lesson, one that strengthened our understanding of each other and reinforced the importance of respect, even in casual interactions. That night, what began as a seemingly trivial comment, "I'd have more fun alone," had evolved into a meaningful lesson in perception, respect, and awareness. It wasn't about winning or proving a point. It was about letting actions speak louder than words. Megan's shock, her realization, and her subsequent reflection marked the night as unforgettable, a defining moment that quietly reshaped the dynamic of our relationship. In the end, the party became more than a social event. It became a lesson, a turning point, and a reminder that even playful words can carry serious weight.